Welcome to the Masters Grand Prix interview room, and today we've got a woman on now today, middle distance runner, won many medals over different distances, I think from 800 up until 3,000 metres I believe, and I'm going to introduce you today, v45 Louise Rudd, I think who's Stockport I believe.
That's correct, yeah.
So, how did you get into Masters Athletics?
I started a little bit further back. I did start running when I was quite young, when I was like 8 years old at Sale Harriers. Started in the sprints, then moved straight into the middle distance there. I was very fortunate in my later years to be coached by Norman Poole in the group that at the time was coaching Diane Edwards, now Diane Madame.
Yes.
She was obviously in that time doing really well, and she'd been to the Olympics and Commonwealth Games. And I just fell out of love with running, really. Wasn't going to make it, and just found that going to university and having fun was far greater, really, than running.
Distractions.
Yeah, so and then it was only after I'd had my son when I was still 27, 28, and I remember watching the Manchester 10K on TV and thinking, oh, I'll do that, which everybody thought was quite funny because I was just an 800 metre runner. I would never run further than that. But it was just a fitness, and I'd also promised my dad, who passed away a number of years ago, that I'd do a marathon. So I set about doing anything but the track, which was what I'd left because I didn't want to go back to what I'd left. And did a few marathons for charity. Started doing the local park runs, and there I met one of the chaps who organised that, a Masters athlete called Rob Downs, who trained at Wilmslow Running Club, which was just a road running club. And so then it was only there really, once I think I joined there at 33, once I hit 35, that I realised there was anything such as Masters running at all. But I started with the road stuff there, but realised that I really did fancy the track, so I started training by myself down at Stockport Harriers, and I was watching this elite group of athletes circle the track, it was a team coached by David Turnbull, and in that group were people like Steve Vernon, who, and you don't know, he's won more medals in national cross-country championships than anybody in the UK, so it's a really good group of people. There was Elle Baker, a lot of internationals in that group, and I rocked up and said, can I join your group? Which they originally said no. I was 37 at the time, and I didn't really, not to give, but I'd begun to realise that there was something such as Masters Athletics, that was, sport and track and field, so I wanted to be part of the track group so that I could get going with that again. Eventually they did conceive that me join, and my first Masters event was going to Zittau in 2012.
Yeah.
There, so that was what opened my eyes to it. And I just didn't believe that sort of, it had existed on that level. And I had, thankfully, I think I know I've listened to some of your other interviews, and they were saying you have to get used to a real championship environment of core rooms and everything like that. And I had been exposed to that as a child because I competed at quite a high level. But I think going back into it again, and people, as you say, from all over the world, and trying to come across language barriers and things like that, it was eye-opening and amazing. And I think absolutely after that, completely and utterly got hooked on it, because as we've said in the other interviews, it's a really great group of people. You meet a lot of friends, people I met there who've now, friends for life, really. And the rest, I managed to progress. Really, I think my best year was hitting as a v40, which was 5 years ago. There and began to run lifetime PBs, which was really quite pleasing. Really.
Well, that gives you a great buzz, because if your training goes well and your training times go well, it gives you that lift anyway, doesn't it? And I suppose knowing that there's championships like the Worlds and the European Championships for Masters, it gives you a little bit more goal to say, well, I'll see what it's like, and that's where you get the buzz, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what people have said. It's a goal for us to do. It's also a way to see places you would never dream about going to, really. We've been to Daegu, Zittau Gym, some very really obscure places, but beautiful places. Meeting people that you've never met before, meeting old friends that you've met. I can see why people get hooked. It's just getting people to get there in the first place, and I think once they go, they'll not look back.
Yeah, well, I think that not everyone can't afford to be going, because we're self-funded when we go to the World Championships. I think that's sometimes difficult for some people. But obviously, did you mention you have a daughter?
No, so small son, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, does your son look up to you now thinking, wow, my mum's doing this and doing that? Setting a great example.
Yes, I think as much as teenagers do. He's been, to be honest, he originally would come to all the events, and he's not really hot on athletics, and he'd sort of look up and go, oh, all right, and look back down again. But yeah, I think he has grown to be. I mean, I did think I'd spawn a runner, but he plays basketball. But he said he'll probably get into it when he's like 24 and he'll end up just starting running again. He's built to be an endurance athlete. He's 5'10", 9 stone. Yeah, he's definitely got the genetics if he chooses to do it. But it's not cool, is it, when you're that age?
Yeah, well, I suppose not. Well, I don't know. It can be cool. I think athletics is cool, personally. I do think so. So I'm going to touch on your training. So coming back, as obviously you did it as a youngster and you've come back into the Masters, has your training changed much when you got into your 40s?
Yes, quite a lot. I think when I was younger, I certainly wasn't overtrained, which probably helped me quite a lot in terms of I wasn't a big mileage runner at all, and because I wouldn't run further than wouldn't race further than 800 metres, it helped quite a lot. And I did still do the cross country season and things like that, which I do now and I quite enjoy for endurance. But joining an endurance group at Stockport was quite an eye-opener, and my mileage jumped quite significantly, really. And yeah, I'm not saying it's right for everybody, because that's the thing I'm conscious of. I do a lot of miles, but I'm also quite strong, and I think that, digressing slightly to the joke of that, I remember first going to a lot of the championships and people would say, "Are you a thrower?" No, not distance athlete. I don't often get asked if I'm a middle distance athlete because I'm quite strong. I often get asked if I am a thrower or something like that, which makes me chuckle. But I'm strong, and I think that helps me, when I do other weights. So I do think that helps me to adapt to the type of training. But again, what's also, I would say, is it's something that I think when you interviewed Ricky in the last one, and it's something you said, you do hit a point. So I think at 40 it was great, and I realised at 43 I was beginning to struggle, so I've had to adapt it a little bit. I still probably do a lot, but I think that's the thing I found different, that you can't keep going, can you, at the same pace that you do? You've got to become clever and realise that actually age is catching up with us a little bit. Even though in my head I'm still 16, my body's telling me otherwise.
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly how it is. As we develop in from 35, 45, this is what I was saying exactly to Rick, that as the years go on, you'll realise that you can't keep putting the same amount of training. You've just got to tinker it a little bit. And that's being the smart athlete, and that's why you'll get better results as the age categories go on. Because funny enough, when I look at, you set yourself goals, whatever they are, and if you look at records in the next age group, so if you're in your 40s and you look at the 45, and whatever the record is, if you're running that in your 40s, you think, well, when I'm 45, I'll do that record. But you don't realise when you're getting close to 45 that record is a lot harder.
Yeah.
And you don't realise that until you get near that age group, and then so on. It goes to 50, 55. When you're running them times, you think that's not a problem, but let me tell you, in 5 years' time, that record becomes a lot more difficult than what it originally looked when you run. And I think everyone's got to look at that, and it makes me laugh, because when I say a 40-year, I go, oh, that's easy at 45. No, it isn't. No.
It's not even 5-year gaps, it's year on year. I think you notice a difference, don't you? Think something's so insignificant and you just can't get to it that year. So the people, like you said, who are breaking the records, and you yourself have broken some fantastic records, it's really phenomenal to do to some of the times that you see people running at Masters. I don't think people can put it into perspective just how quick these people are running at their age to achieve records that are really phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know records are there to be broken, but I think what it does is it inspires people that have that thought of breaking records. They're good enough to break records, and I think that's what drives them on, as well as going to major championships. But as I pointed before out, that not everyone can go a championship, but people could attack records if they can't go. But they have their own agenda, whether it's running a PB, season's best, I just say. So you touched on mileage, so how much mileage would you put in?
Probably throughout winter I would be up to sort of 65 miles a week, really. I did a tip, totally touch on the high 70s, which I found was a little bit much for me. At the moment, I'm because we haven't got any races and things, so I'm probably chugging along at sort of 50, 55 miles. So I do quite a lot, I think, and I want to. But again, I'm robust and I'm trying to know what works for me. Some of it's around weight maintenance as well for me. You know, I do like, as anybody who follows my Facebook page, I do like to bake a lot and eat a lot. So, and that's the enjoyment part of doing, you know, the running. We're not. I mean, I know what Rick said just about us all being elite, you know, being elite athletes, but we're not. We are and we're not. You know, we're in this for fun as well. You know, at the end of the day, most of us work alongside it. So, but yeah, and I found that's what works really for me, and I quite enjoy. I do quite enjoy getting out and just sort of turning the miles out, really, interspersed with sort of 2 hard sessions a week of running and then a couple of hard gym sessions.
Okay, we'll touch on the gym session. So obviously you do. Is that because you do more of aerobic work? It's because you do more. You've gone diverse into doing from 800s up to 3,000 meters on the track.
No, I think actually the older I've got, my strength is my strength. I thought it was faster than I was, and I don't think I've got out a lot of out and out flat speed, so I think I need to be strong to sort of make my theory in races was to make it hard for people. Anybody who's watching me run, I do quite like to just take it out of the front and make people hurt. And I realised to do that you needed a good aerobic base to do that, and it's also, you know, what a coach, you know, not at the moment, but for the last 7 years, I was coached by Dave Turnbull, and it was around building that base, because there's no point in being fast if you're not up there with them at the front. Anyway, so I did work hard on that strength element, and also I think the older I've got, I've lost speed, as we all do more, but I do think your endurance is something that you can continue to work on as a masters athlete. We're always going to lose speed, but I think you can maintain endurance to keep going. And also, I find I get less injured doing the longer, slower stuff, really. You start on the faster stuff, and I'm sure you'll things like that, when I feel, you know, the aches and pains starting to come in quite a lot. So I've got to be quite careful of doing that. I don't do the very fast stuff until a few weeks out of competition, really.
So that's a good thing then. So it's basically you're working on your own tactics in the race, aren't you? Saying, right, I can't be as fast as you, but I'll be strong as you, and I'll run the legs off you. I'll make you work for the medal. So you're trying to take away the fast finishes, really, aren't you? Saying, I'll try and get that speed out of your legs for the last bit. So yeah.
It's like, you know, certain endurance races. I've lost races to be stupid to be sitting back, whereas I think sometimes if I think I just run an honest race, at least I can walk away and go, well, I tried.
Well, that's it. I think with definitely middle distance events, it's very tactical, isn't it? That getting in positions right, knowing when to strike, when not to strike, sitting. So it's a lot more tactical. You've got a lot more things going on in your mind in the middle distance runners, where sprints, it's boom. Not much to think about. So obviously you touched on weights there. So what type of weight training would you do in the gym?
So I tend to do, on a Sunday I do quite a big one where I do my Olympic lift, so the squats, you know, cleans and things like that, just for pure strength. But also, what I'd point out is my strength is dictated by my physio in the last few years, which is great. I work with Chris Brammer, who works at the Manchester Institute of Health and Performance. So therefore, my strength and conditioning is based on where my needs are, rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it. So some of it is just, you know, and a lot of it around keeping your glute strength, your hamstring strength, where I struggle a little bit, rotational core, and things like that. So it's generally built, and you know, when I tend to see Chris, obviously not at the moment, but whether I need to or not, I don't just go and see a physio because I've got an issue. I see Chris because I think he keeps on top of any of the issues that I've got, and we update the strength and conditioning program. I'll then do another bigger one on a Wednesday where I'll do a similar sort of thing, but probably not quite so much heavy lifts, maybe throw some plyometrics in there as well. And if I've got time any other time in the week, I might, you know, I try and do an hour's yoga if I can on a Monday. Not that I enjoy particularly things like that, but I know it's good for me. A little bit of stretching. I've got 3 hurdles in the garden, so I often just sometimes after a run I'll come out and do some drills in the garden and things like that as well, again, just to try and keep a bit of mobility going.
That's fantastic. Well. And the other thing is, I wouldn't expect a middle distance runner to be doing much plyometrics. So that's interesting. I think, well, why would you do plyometrics? And then obviously Olympic lifts as well. It's something that you're more in tune with the the sprinter side of things, hurdlers, but not necessarily middle distance runners. So that's a great thing. And the other thing I like that you touched on was that seeing your physio without actually being injured. You're trying to stop the build-up of getting injury. You're trying to say, well, no, if I can maintain being good, which I think is excellent, that's the way forward.
And there are caveats to, like you said, it's not affordable to be able to do that. I do appreciate that's a luxury for me, but it is something that I realise if I do want to keep going, that I have to do. Like yourself, I also work full time. I'm a rep. I've been a rep for 20 odd years, so I'm often driving huge distances in the car and sat down, and that does have an impact on my back and my hamstrings as well, quite a lot. So sometimes just going to see him to iron out those creases has been really good. So it's 90% to do with sport, but it's also there's an element of keeping me able to work as well.
Well, that's the thing is we've all got, I'd say 99.9% of masters are all got jobs. Obviously, the older ones might be retired by now, but it is about looking after yourself. And what you've done is, if you're doing long distance sat down, at least you're getting up and you're getting your regular treatments to keep you going. So is massage a part of that as well?
Yeah, he's a lot of soft tissue work as well. So he would do some massage into his treatment, but I also then would go and see somebody else for a massage as well if I can, in between those monthly 6 weekly visits of the physio. I try and get a massage in there as well, which I do find really, really useful. It's been difficult also in lockdown, so I've purchased one of those massage guns, which I've found has been really, really invaluable to try and help me get through this.
I've seen more athletes start to use them on the track as part of warm up and your foam rollers and stuff like that. I'm going to touch on food now. So obviously you don't look after yourself. Well, when I say don't look after yourself, you're not worried. No, what I'm saying is you don't worry about food by the sounds of it. Do you just eat what you want, or do you be a little bit more careful?
I enjoy food, and I've never been somebody who's restricted what I eat. I think I like to cook good home cooked food for my family, which is great. So the main meal we do eat healthily in that way. The treat for me is the baking alongside of it, that I do as well. But I do look at my food, and it's probably more so into going into the build up into competition. When you've got a few months into that, I'd be much better, and wouldn't have a drink and lead into it then. But there's got to be some element of enjoyment for this for me, and I can't restrict myself like some people can, because I just think there's no fun to what we do. Really, I enjoy.
Yeah, well, I definitely concur with you, because I just eat what I want to eat, and I know plenty of other athletes out there. They'll have fish and chips, they'll have a pint or whatever, and it's like, as you say, it is an enjoyment as long as it's not affecting you as your performance, and you're happy with what you're doing in life. Then it's having that fine line, isn't it, between enjoying everything. So do you touch any vitamins or minerals or any other supplements that you might take alongside your training?
Yeah, I take an omega-3 supplement, which I think is just important. I don't. For many years in my life growing up, I wouldn't eat meat or fish. I was really awful. It was only when I got pregnant with my son I started eating fish, and in the last few years, really, I will occasionally eat chicken, but not that I cooked. It's not for ethical. I just never liked meat.
Right.
So, and we don't eat tons of fish because the boys don't like it, although I quite do. So I think it's more for that element that I do. I do take a probiotic because now in the last few years I saw a nutritionist, Rennie McGregor. I don't know if people have heard of her. She does a good podcast and things as well. And she said it can be sometimes taking a probiotic, especially in the 12 week leading into competition, can help prevent against getting other illnesses, other colds and things. So I don't know, I don't get lots of colds anyway, but I just thought it was worth a go. There's certainly no harm to it. And in the last year or so, I've actually started taking collagen tablets, because I did have quite a significant, we thought it was hamstring tendinopathy, but ended up being a tear, which I also had some treatment on. And it was, I'm quite science-based, I've done a science degree, and I do like quite a lot of science. And so I tend to take things that have got evidence-based, and there was evidence about taking collagen 30 minutes prior to exercise that can help, hopefully, support it a little bit better as well. So I do things like that. On top of that, I tend to caffeine deplete in the lead into races, then I'll caffeine load on race day. I do take the beetroot thing, because again, there's evidence about the nitrate thing, but I only go into competitions because drinking those beetroot socks are absolutely disgusting. If anybody's ever tried them, they are hideous.
Well, it shows you though, but the good thing is you are researching, you're not just taking something for the sake of it. And I think someone touched on that earlier on one of the other interviews, that research is key.
Yes, and there is, you can, it's very, we all have access to the net now, and it's very easy to search things that, there are a lot of fads out there, you've got to make, decide which are not fads, although I'd caveat that with saying sometimes if something isn't going to cause you any harm, but there's not necessarily any benefit, there can be a huge placebo effect of things like that. As long as it's not doing you any harm, it can't be that bad. I think I was having a debate last night with somebody on Facebook about using magnesium spray on your legs. And you're saying, well, there's no thing. I said, doesn't do me any harm putting some magnesium spray on my legs, so actually I'm quite happy with that, and if it psychologically makes me feel better, that's fine. I work for the pharmaceutical industry, I've worked for that in 22 years, and there is a huge benefit around the placebo effect for things that people don't realise, but again, as long as it's not doing, there's nothing doing you any harm, then there's, it's like the calf guards, the things like that.
Compression socks and all that.
There's no clinical benefit to using them whatsoever. They can't find a benefit. But do they do you any harm? Not at all. So why not? Why not use them if they're not going to do you any harm whatsoever?
Yeah, no, that's quite right. And as you say, the placebo effect is a massive one out there. Someone give me a vitamin tab and say, you're going to run faster by that, and you have it, and you're like, you do. And as you say, it just raises your games. It gets into a mental stimulation. So I'm all for, doing things. Obviously, as long as it's legal and above board, then why wouldn't you try it? So obviously now you've just coming into the v45. So have you got some goals coming up next that you'd like to achieve?
Well, this year was supposed to be my best. This year was 2015. And this year was my 2015 and 2020. I was going due to do the Europeans and the Worlds as only just coming to the age category, and but obviously that's been blown out. So. I'm not making any plans for this year because my honest belief is there will not be any races this year that have any significance. So hopefully if the European indoors goes ahead next year, and then the World Outdoors again next year as well, I'll try and hit those as early as I can in this age category before we
get to 50, before we move on so quick, because the years do fly by, don't they? They really do.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you always want to hit them and the earliest possible, don't you, as soon as you hit the age category, hence why this year was going to be hopefully a great year, but no, things have changed, and it's probably not such a bad thing to get a bit of downtime, really, because I do sometimes feel you go from one championship to the next, and you just blink and then there's another one and another one, so, that's the challenge, is really trying to stay fit and ready for next year to try and I don't know if I'm not capable necessarily of making any records, I don't think, but I think I can still win medals, which is the key thing.
Well, well, to be honest, that's what it's really all about. People always say to me that winning medals is more important than records, but personally, I'd like to see if I could do both, because it's just one of them things I'd love to try. Yeah, if you can do both, you go for both, don't you? But as I say, because sometimes you might be able to break a record, but you can't afford to travel to the championships. So there's always that. Have you got any tips for any other aspiring other middle distance runners from 40 years old up?
From 40 years who are currently running?
Currently run, or someone who might be coming new to the Masters scene. The idea of what I love about the Masters, you can come in at any age. You can be coming into your 60s doing it.
I think get on the phone, use social media to chat to people who are already doing it. Find out the information, because that's what helped me a lot when I first came into it. I actually befriended a group of athletes from Walton AC, because lots of them used to travel in en masse to the Masters, and it was great. We're still friends, and they really helped me because they'd already been there before. It took away some of the stress for me to say, what do you do? Where do you pick your stuff up? All those things that you might worry about if you've never done that. So talk to people who've been there, and that'll alleviate the stress of maybe going if you're planning on doing it. Just getting into athletics anyway. Again, chat to other masters, because what I do is relevant for me, but it might not be relevant for other people. So you need to find out what's good for you. I read a lot. Again, anybody who follows me on Facebook, I'm quite a prolific reader, and I can, if anybody wants to look up some of the books I've read. I think some of them I'll give an honest review, and it's great to do reading as well, and then you can make your own decisions about what you think's best for you. Join a group if you're not part of a group. You know, a group it doesn't necessarily have to be a masters training group, because I think we were probably like you, trained with some young, I've trained with some of the kids. It's great really to get stuck in and feel at our age you still can.
Well, yeah, because it makes us feel young anyway, doesn't it? If we train with any youngsters, it does actually make us feel young.
Yeah, and ultimately enjoy it. Try and enjoy it, because we are doing this for fun. And I think sometimes even I forget that and get too wound up in it. But you're going to meet a great group of people. All the people that you've interviewed, I've met, and they've all offered their help, support, and advice across the times, and again across all the other masters athletes, always willing to help you if you ask them a question about their training or competition or anything like that. So
yes, yeah. Well, as I've repeated myself on numerous cases, I think they're a fabulous group. So obviously, it sounds like you've got quite a few hobbies away from athletics, then.
Looking at son and family and work, probably I don't actually have a lot of other time beyond that. Reading, I read a lot, but I think, like Rick said just when I listened to his, I don't really watch TV. Something's got to give, and I don't have time to do that. But I'd rather spend my time reading. So when I've got any spare time, I'm either reading or baking or sleeping. Really, around that, I haven't probably got a lot of other spare time, unfortunately. But
so do you have? I was going to with a middle listener. Do you go through trainers very quickly then?
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know if I withhold to that thing where people say you should keep them for 400 miles. I always think that's a bit of a marketing strategy. So I have a lot of trainers on the go. Yeah, I have loads. I tend to switch in and out of them. For like, I have, racing flats for the road. Trainers just do training, spikes, cross-country spikes, off-road shoes. So that in itself is quite good. I think, you can swap between shoes. So I went for a 6-mile run this morning, so make you laugh. There's a football field near our house, and rather than, even when I can travel, just to get off-road, I ran 6 miles around a football pitch, because it just doesn't bother me, because it was grass and it was soft, and it doesn't particularly bother me just going around in circles doing that. I've done up to 10 miles around that football.
How? Would you just switch off?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken music now. I switch. I quite enjoy listening, but I probably struggle with nothing to listen to. But I could do it. But yeah, I just switch off and focus on the podcast, and something like that. Yeah.
So do you know when you go to the major champions? Then do you listen to music when you're warming up?
No, because I get panics from that in me, and that's just I'd like to, but I think nerves get the better, and I think, oh, what if they're shouting, and what if the race comes in? So no, I tend not to, but just so that I can hear what's going on, because I'm frightened of missing the start of the race, even though you know exactly what time the race is going to start, don't you? But that's just I tend not to.
To me, you sound like you're quite a nervous person before you compete.
I am, I think I am, and I think just the bit leading into it, but once I'm on the start line, I think the calm then comes around me. It's more about, I think I'm just a day-to-day stress, as everybody in the house will tell you, about everything being on time and working. But because I've always worked and run and had children and things like that, I'm really good at time management. So everything has to fall into place. So I have an old-fashioned paper diary like everybody else, and I literally, everything goes in there, and everything's, if I've got a spare bit of time, I tend not to waste it. I'd read or I'd do a workout, things like that. So it's more about that. Every timing's got to be placed. I get stressed by things not happening when I expect them to happen.
Oh, do you have a training diary then?
Yes. Yeah, I have an online one from my coaches, but I also write a handwritten one, as I've done for the last 10 years, which I do quite like to.
Yeah, do you flick back and look at what you did before? Because that's what I do. I always have a look back and go, oh, I could run that when I was 10 years ago.
It's what did they say about comparisons to the thief of joy? And it's difficult, because I look back again like 2015 and what I was doing and the types of sessions and the mileage and things like that. I was like, oh my God, I just couldn't, I don't think I could do that. I could do that sort of thing now. But 5 years, as you said, is a long time. I mean, it just so happened that summer that I was doing quite a lot of training with Jess Piasecki. I don't know if anybody knows her, runs for Stockport Harriers. She ran the 3rd fastest marathon time in history last year, running 25. I remember doing warm-ups with Jess, and Jess would warm up at like 6 minute miling, and then I'd do a threshold, and my threshold would be that pace. Just like, but it got me fit. I would say, there's no way I could keep up with her now to do those sorts of things. But at the time, I somehow managed to, get really fit doing those things. So
that's fantastic. So, are you looking now? Obviously, with lockdown, we can't do much. So basically, you'll be just ticking over now. So have you got anyone who's inspired you in the Masters, that are in the Masters now, or in an age group that you look towards? Or
I think it'd be difficult to single one person out, because I think there are so many different performances that people have done. I suppose on the women's side, for us, you've got somebody like Claire Elms, who is, I think, now 56. The times that she's running and when are phenomenal for any age group, never mind a woman of her age. She's numerous records broken. When she goes to championships, she tends to do like 5 events and wins them all. It's pretty phenomenal. I think when I look at the time she was running as a 45, or I am now, I just think I can't do this now. She's a really phenomenal athlete. But there are loads of other people who aren't necessarily even just winning medals, who turn up and just get stuck in, and they're always there, and that's just as great to watch those people. I think anybody who turns up and does it is great. I've watched some performances. I remember being in when we went, my memory's lost, in 2017, where were the European outdoors? Denmark.
Was it Denmark? Yeah. Where I dove over the line. I did the Superman over the line, didn't I? Gosh, what was it? Aarhus.
Yeah, and I remember watching the 200 metres there. There was a German lady, a V70, and she clocked like 30.2 for 200 metres at 70 years of age. It's just phenomenal to watch those sorts of performances and put that into perspective. That is absolutely shifting, isn't it? At 70 years of age, a woman at 70 years of age to do those sorts of things, it's just, And there's just loads of people, really. Yourself, everybody, when you watch what everybody's doing, it's why I think when I used to first go to them, because I was with my family, we'd not stay and watch, because my son was quite young at the time, so we'd go and do my event and leave. But as I've got a bit older and I've travelled by myself, I love watching the performances. It's really inspiring to see what people do.
I think that's it. This year, I won't say this year. Last year, when we went to, where was last year's? Venice.
Venice. I didn't go to Venice, but yeah.
Well, I was injured and I couldn't compete. So we sat there, me and my girlfriend and a few other of us, Masters athletes, and I watched the men's long jump. And they were in the 70s and 80s. It was remarkable. I absolutely loved every minute of it. So even though I was injured, I was watching these events, and normally I've never watched them. Fantastic. They inspired me, and I loved every minute, and it's so much enjoyed it. I watched a lot of the middle distance races that I never normally get to watch. I thought it was brilliant. Well, anyway, Louise, it's been fantastic interviewing you. It'd be great to see you on the track again. Hopefully, maybe at the end of this year or next year, and we'll see how you get on. Anything I like to add before I go?
No, thanks for the interview. It's been great. I've really enjoyed listening to this, so thank you. I feel quite honoured to have been interviewed as well. So thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Louise. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.